As the president of the Chamber of Commerce about a decade or so ago, what were some things that you initiated to spark a growth with that group to help Cuba? Good morning. I am Ed Meehan, sitting down with Cuba Town Supervisor Lee James today. This interview is a part of my graduate course work investigating outdoor recreation economics in my area. Thank you for being here with me today. I really appreciate it.
Brought it back to life, and we felt that the chamber needed to be a stakeholder in the downtown. So I think the big thing is that you do see, people coming back, and we also see folks opening new restaurants and new storefronts. So I think it's evolving, and it'll continue to evolve as most rural downtowns do.
When we came here in 2000, what was it, 22, we were impressed because it was like a modern day Mayberry. Really just that hometown kind of feel. So
yeah, and I think the population has stayed about steady, if you would. What we see at the lake is probably more seasonal homes becoming permanent homes, and that has created that. And I think we're at a bubble where we need more housing.
Yes, absolutely. I'm considering a nonprofit outdoor recreation-based business in the future. What steps could I be taking today that would better prepare me and position me for a role in the field of new business owner in the future of Cuba?
Okay, I think this is a great first step, is taking the classes that you are, and that'll help give you a good basis. But I also think being involved in the community, and I would say both you and Kim have integrated nicely and have reached out to folks to see what the needs are and to be involved in the community. So that's always important. But I think once you have a concrete plan put together and how you see it and the vision for it, there's other things like the Lane Accelerator program out of Olean. There's also the Accord business classes in Belmont. And I would say that those are good things. And with some funding that Accord has gotten, all the people that are involved in their business classes right now are able to receive a grant. And it's not a competitive grant anymore. It's enough that they can fund each of these small businesses with some dollars that will help them. But that walks you through the fundamentals, and it'll give you a good business plan and model when you get done. So I would say, they'll have another class in the spring, and I would recommend that you reach out to them.
Absolutely, thank you. All right, that's good to know. All right, Court, that's excellent. What experiences do you feel helped you grow in your current leadership position?
I think mentors, I've been here at this agency for many years, and both Mr. Dye and Mr. Bowker, they're both passed, but they gave me the opportunity to grow here, but they also were very involved in the community, and they were either, part of the chamber, the Rotary Club. Mr. Dye was very active in the fire department and other county area organizations, I would say. And so, if something was going to happen, they asked me to, step into the secretary of the chamber role. And so from there, I worked through different programs and became president when there was the opportunity, but it was, I think the people you meet and the mentorship and the opportunities, and obviously I wear multiple hats, with the insurance business, and then also I'm town supervisor. And, that I think you have to have a love of community too.
Absolutely.
And that helps as well. But the opportunities and the mentorship, I worked for prior Congressman Reed, and that was where they sought out somebody to help with part-time work, and now I'm working for Congressman Lane Worthy as well in a part-time capacity. But it gives you a lot of opportunities, and I'm part of the leadership executive committee for the GOP Allegheny County, so I'm female vice chair of that. So I think connections, networking, and just really loving what you do.
Yeah, that's excellent. I've gone through Congressman Langworthy's office a few times for some. As a Cuba Town Supervisor, you work with many different groups of people, businesses, nonprofits on community-wide goals, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The town and the village boards and we work very closely together. I'd say I have a good relationship with past mayors, and then also current mayor Barnes and his leadership and the things that they're trying to do to improve the infrastructure. So I think having strong relationships not only here but countywide.
Sure.
We have municipal organizations that we meet and talk about different things. Certainly it's a learning curve when you take over a position like
Sure.
that, and you never know fully what you're going to get involved in. But we're still very active with keeping in touch with the chamber and all the goals that they have. The Trail Town, that is an initiative that, personally as supervisor, that I believe is a great initiative. And the Alfred students recently completed their urban design. And that, I had the opportunity to be part of some of the conversations with that. And they did take some of the ideas, and I think came up with some really great ideas. And the next step would be for our planning boards to adopt those and put them into our comprehensive plans. Maybe not all of them, but at least those that we feel that we can handle. And I think we have an opportunity to build on the trail towns, and it's already becoming very a focal point. Cuba with state parks, we
Sure.
work closely with state parks and New York State DOT, and we applied for a TAP grant, which is for rural development and safe routes to schools. So we will probably reapply for some form of another safe routes. And I just see what the Alfred students pulled together. I mean, they really did some exceptional work, and that'll be presented to the community at another point. They already did their presentation to a small group of folks, and so we're anxious to share some of that. And a couple of the buildings, I can already see where we could work with the Accord Corporation, because their building was highlighted.
Sure.
And they are applying for grants. So I think just knowing who your organizations are and being involved and always collaborating and working together towards goals to achieve are important for a small community.
That is great. It's the Alfred. I'm impressed.
Positioned right on the Cattaraugus County borderline.
Sure.
We're very fortunate because then we also have St. Bonaventure and JCC, and many of our students, go that direction as well. So we're, I would say, very fortunate with what we have in higher education.
That's something I'm getting out of Leadership Allegheny, is that there's this mission to have folks stay here and invest in the community, and it seems like that's actually catching on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of young professionals are really staying here and making a go of it in Cuba, so it's excellent seeing the young people stepping up and getting involved. Who are Cuba's major stakeholders in amplifying outdoor recreation like initiatives and businesses?
I would say the Greenway Trail Committee.
Right.
That's going to be. I think they're probably the biggest piece, of that pie.
Sure.
But then New York State Parks, because they're already looking at, when the extensions come this way, they're already looking to go towards Olean. So when they start making the connections, from the trail to Hinsdale and into Olean, and it's a bigger loop that'll eventually go back up to state parks and back up to Buffalo, that's going to be important. And I would say, who else we need to be, there's a great cottage owners association here in Cuba for the lake activities, as well as the Lake District. We also, partner with the chamber again. I think we're fortunate because many communities don't have a chamber of commerce, and ours is over 100 years old. So, it's stood the test of time, and it provides, back valuable resources to our community, I think. and it gets showcased by the Garlic Festival, bringing in thousands of people on one weekend to see what kind of community we have and what we have to offer. So I do hear a lot of times that we're looking more like a small Ellicottville, and so I think with the trail towns and that initiative through the Friends of the Genesee Valley Greenway Trail and other state parks and their initiatives, that it's going to be important to this community, because they're already looking at us as a trail town. So, and we do interact with other organizations also that are part of the trail town.
And that's a great comparison to small Ellicottville. What Vail Industries, Holiday Valley did for that region, something similar for this area with trail towns. And I know we don't have ski slopes, but other...
No, but we have other natural resources that I
Absolutely.
think that we need to take advantage of.
Absolutely. That's and they call the as this is a Colorado University, Ellicottville is known as the Aspen of the Northeast. I've heard it called. So we've got that connection going on.
Yes, we sure do. And I don't want to be remiss and not mention the Seneca Nation, because
Right.
while they are technically in Cattaraugus County, I feel like they're part of the Cuba community because of their location. The one building that they have is in Allegheny County and in the town of Cuba, which is on Route 446. And then the other aspect is that they will probably most likely be developing further on the end their territory end of Cuba Lake, and they also are exploring what people want. And I believe I need to reach back out to them and see what their final plans are, because they did a study. They came and spoke with our citizens, and they've been here to say what is it that people would like to see.
Right. That's and we are fortunate. We have a very large Native population in this region, so it's very culturally diverse here. It's a great feel when you come down here.
It is. Yeah.
What are the main goals that the town works on or plans to work on for the trail town and these stakeholders?
Well, I think again, the big thing would be the connection to bring the trail down from above the high school
Right.
to the community, and we're going to continue to pursue that, not only for the recreation purpose, but also for safeguarding the people that are walking and traversing on State Route 305,
Right.
because there are no protective barriers and there are no sidewalks. So it would be very important. And while we didn't get the TAP grant, we rated second in the region.
Oh, nice.
And state parks and DOT want to also see that connection made, and also to keep the citizens and visitors that come here to be protected and have the ability to still be mobile and make that connection.
And that's something that we had looked into. We
Greatly, just because of that,
Sure.
and then you have folks in our neighboring county that really want this trail connection as well.
Right.
So again, it's collaboration between communities and finding ways with the agencies that we have to work with.
Right.
Because state parks is always going to be the lead agency, as
Sure.
well as New York State DOT, because some of the interconnection is going to need DOT approval, because it's near around the I-86 corridor.
Right. That's
Yeah, and I think when you look at Olean and what they have become for their walkable downtown,
oh yeah.
and for that, I think the other piece of it is to make sure that when we're doing our infrastructure, that we can also upgrade our sidewalks and continue to make improvements along that way as well. Because the easier it is for people to come in and to use our
Sure.
community, then it's another chance for them to look at us and maybe relocate, or they'll be back again to visit.
And that's something good point with Olean is that we first came to Olean. I've been told that the town village leaders work with New York State Parks Department and Cuba Friends of Architecture on trail town issues. What is the role that the town fills in this partnership?
I think, again, many times you need municipalities to be the funding agency,
Right.
or, the Friends are able to get grants, and I think Michael Doyle was really instrumental in getting some of the grants that they did get in the past. whether it's just for, and I see a Ralph Wilson Foundation grants opening back up again, is that do we do more further studies, or do we try to create one of the pocket parks that have been proposed and see if we can get that funded? So I think, between the town and the village, as long as we have the same goals and the same mission and have an outlook, and we want to continue to see this happen, that I think that's going to be important, because sometimes, as leaderships change and stuff, so does priorities.
Sure, absolutely.
And we know that we need, more infrastructure. We need to, collaborate and make sure that we have those goals that match. And that's why I think it's important to take a look at what the Alfred students have created and try to incorporate some of those into our comprehensive plan, because that's going to be important when you can point to these studies and you can show what has been proposed and get them into the comprehensive plan. When you look through it, I mean, it's a living document, and whether it's an amendment or recreating the documents itself and a new plan coming out, that's going to be important.
Sure.
So, and I think we never can let our community leaders shelve it. It needs to be a living document and work on that. And I think towards that end, the town of Cuba never had a planning board, so we have created a planning board now, and we have some folks sitting on that. We've asked them to take a look at some of the things that we feel are important, making sure maintenance laws are put into place that expand on our current codes, and to, a beautiful community in a downtown that's pleasing, and that inviting also brings a possibility of people moving back to our area or relocating here. And we're seeing more and more people are I think, coming out of urban areas and looking for what we have here, the small town feel, and the great outdoors. I mean, they don't have that. I recently met with a client for a property that she purchased over in Belmont, and she's going to fix it up and Airbnb it, but she's coming out of Fort Lee, New Jersey, and what she told me, and her dad came with her, is that it's wonderful, just the air quality, the difference, and being able to be away from all the hustle and bustle.
Right, that was a big reason why we moved down here, was for the outdoor recreation, the clean air, the fresh air. You can see the stars at night.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, different. And in the way the cities were moving, the urban environments are getting a little less desirable as the years seem to be going by, while the rural communities seem to be getting a lift in popularity. So
yeah, I think coming out of a pandemic made people have different eyes, and maybe had us stand still a little bit, and made us realize that we want the quality of life again that we had, but maybe in a different avenue. So it's time to slow down, relax, and hiking, biking, water activities, and all of that are important to people.
Sure, we're starting to lose our humanity a little bit in the mix. I think the COVID was a good reminder that we really do need each other, and communities like this emphasize the human element. So
absolutely,
where in the city you're just kind of anonymous, and no one stands out. It's
yeah.
So yeah, this is a great place for that. So please share with me how you work with Parks Department in the economic benefit of the trail systems. What have been some of the drawbacks to this collaboration, if any?
Don't really see any drawbacks. The only, except for one, is that a lot of times, State Park will offer out a grant, but also State Parks is able to go after the same grants that the small municipalities are. So while, the connection north of us is very important, they rated number one on that TAP grant, and so State Parks was awarded those funds. And, so it's, I think that we need to work a little closer. I was thinking that they weren't going to put in a grant this time because they really felt this connection was going to be important.
Mm-hmm.
And so, while the grant that they did get is going to help Northern Allegheny County, so it's important for that connection. So I don't
Sure.
want to dismiss that, and that'll help with the building back towards Cuba with some areas where some bridges were out and some other things. So I think that, you know, having them as our friend and collaborating with them and them knowing that we want this and that we want to be an active trail town is very important. And I believe that, you know, I have a great relationship with Jay Bailey, and that's important for our region
Sure.
as well, you know. So, and the DOT partners that we have, they've been very good, you know.
Yeah.
We weren't sure that and I'll give an example with Dunkin' Donuts, we weren't sure that's going to even happen because of some of the things that the state DOT were not going to allow.
Oh.
So, you know, bringing community leaders together, bringing some of our elected officials together, and having them come out to the site and work through some things with their engineers and others, that it expedited getting some things done. So, you know, it's going to happen
Sure.
now, and I think that's, you know, just having those relationships and being able to, you know, bring them here and to actually show them and talk to them, and, you know, that's important as well.
Something that I didn't realize in Allegheny County, and so I was in Leadership Allegheny, is it's Swain. There's a ski resort here.
There is, yeah.
That's kind of blew me away. I always just associate skiing in this region with Kissing Bridge and Holiday Valley and that region, but we have that here too. So
we do, yes, yep. And
So-
I think they're trying to look at different ways to grow that as well, you know.
Yeah.
In trails and, you know, other things, because I think that they can't just be relying on if we get
Right.
snow,
Exactly.
that it has to be, you know, a seasonal facility.
Exactly. That's what the family owns. It was saying that with the weather patterns shifting and changing, snow isn't quite, at least in the last 5 years, I think we've been lacking in that department. So
We have. And I guess today would be a testament of what our weather is going to
71
be.
degrees. I know.
Yeah.
It's I like it, but yeah, it's different.
Yeah. Yes, I like it as well. So can't bash that.
Right.
So.
Has the establishment of the trail sparked tourism or business growth in Cuba?
I would think that it has to play into those roles, that they see more people, you know, stopping in and coming. I think it's going to take some time with the connections and actually building some pocket parks near
Sure.
the I-86 exchange that will allow the TAP grant that I applied for. I had a parking area with the electric chargers and, you know, a place that people could come and park and then take advantage of the trails and or come into the community while their vehicles are charging. And bike chargers I felt was going to be important, because parks will allow the low end of EV bikes on the trails now. So, you know, I think if we build some of those pocket parks where people can get off, and that's one of the proposals that actually they did have again in the Alfred students' proposals, and they've got it more near the McDonald's area, and
Right.
I had it just beyond that area. So if we can build a couple pocket parks and,
Yeah.
you know, more attractive when they get off the interchange, and can, you know, utilize that. And even if you've got a gas vehicle, park,
Sure.
come hike, bike, walk, you know, whatever it is that you like to do. And, you know, I think the other thing that's going to be vital to us is to make sure that the lake is always accessible to visitors,
Right.
because, you know, there's legislation out there that allows either the municipalities to buy the lake, or the lake district, or the lake owners themselves. And so that legislation is there, but until they're making some improvements to the spillway and the dam. But once that's complete, then hopefully the sale of the lake will go through, unless they make some amendment to that legislation that would prohibit it. But when we talked to legislators on that, both Assemblyman Gilliel and Senator Barilla were instrumental in getting that law into legislation, and the governor signed it. One of the things that was important to me, and that I pushed, was that the accessibility of the spillway area, or the boat launch area
Right.
and the little pocket area near Carpies, that is where the
Right.
Lake District has a building. That's, you see a lot of people fishing
Sure.
and going into that area. So, and that's where they launch some kayaks and whatnot too.
That's where I
for
launched
the
my
lake.
kayak.
Yeah, so that's important. That was important to me as I was growing up as a child. I mean, that was a picnic area with sandy
Sure.
areas, and you know, it was a family place to go on a Sunday afternoon and have a picnic and whatnot. And you'll see a lot of people walking the dam, you know. So
right.
I think that somehow, you know, and bringing that into the close proximity of the trail might be another loop.
Right,
at
that would
some
be,
time.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's something they keep stressing or continue to stress in the trail town meetings is making your trails align with your town's commerce so the two feed off each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
that's-
So, you know, bringing them into the hub and getting them to stop downtown. You know, we have other businesses. Just don't stop at the tree shop and
Right.
get back on. Come down and see what else we have to offer. I really like the pocket park that the kids have come up with between Charlie's and the Inn at 28. That's
Yeah.
an interconnecting back to Maple Street, and I could see that being another area that would be very enticing to people. So I think if we can get, you know, the owner of that property on board and go after some grant monies, and state parks, they've
Sure.
identified that area as well in some of the studies that they've done. So
Yeah, because
I think we have some great things to build on.
Oh, sure. Even when we did the 5K in town, a lot of when it finished, a lot of the folks who weren't Cuba residents were going to the Perfect Blend,
Mhm.
and they were unaware that we had the tap,
Yeah.
tap and pour. So yeah, it was a great way of getting people to see our
Yeah.
town. So
And I think we have to, and that's, you know, I know there was a small business group that was kind of under the chamber, I think. Kim, you might know more about that, but I don't know how it integrates and stuff, you know, but I think having committees at that level,
sure.
and I mean, obviously the beautification committee has been very beneficial to our downtown area to make it look attractive. I'd like to see more of it pulled out towards this way as
Sure.
well, because if people are getting off to get gas, they may not go further, but if they see, you know, what it looks like and it's built here as well, you know, and around the plaza area, and some signage that would say that we have more going on downtown,
Sure.
I think that would be beneficial, you know. So, but just, you know, things that I think you see in the Alfred students' comments and things, that, you know, signage is always important as far as business districts, I would say.
Sure.
And, you know, somebody might not know that, you know, Annie's uptown, but I think she's done a great job of marketing herself, and, you know, 10 years in business
Impressive, yeah.
it is impressive for a small business.
Especially through what has happened in the last 10 years, what's transpired. So that is a
Yes.
real testament to
It is.
great business practices.
Yeah, and I think people like those small little niche businesses. So if we had a plan, I think we need to look at everything and say, okay, what other niche businesses could come back in, you know?
Sure.
I mean, just, as kids, we loved to go to the newsstand because you could buy,
Sure.
you know, all your candies
Right.
and licorices and the old Country Heart, you know, so it was really a, you know, five and dime store type thing. So, you know, East Aurora has that,
Right.
and something on a smaller scale. We have the Amish community. You know, Mike Doyle always wondered how we could bring or organize a market that would be inclusive, that they could be a part of it as well. So I think that's something that we still need to pursue and take advantage of.
Yeah.
It's got a smaller hometown feel to it.
Absolutely. With
That
the
way you got
bakeries
that.
and
Mhm.
that's an amazing.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
very possible that we could become that too.
Yep, I think
So-
we just need to find the right niche businesses and people that want to invest back here.
Sure.
And actually, it's nice when you hear of a younger couple that wants to come back, and that they're, you know, I believe Bob Sprague's daughter is going to be coming back from Portland, and she and her significant other are going to be taking over the old Klein building house.
Oh.
And so hopefully that, you know, that's that's a showpiece on South Street. So, and I think that's important too for our planning and our departments, for
Sure.
both the village and the town, that we need to look at, keeping our communities more pristine and how they look, and so that'll be wonderful to have that.
Yeah, that'd be
Oh.
great. That's a little known fact with Cuba. Maybe not little known, but this is the birthplace of Charles Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie.
Correct, yes. So just below the dam, we have the Smith Cemetery, and it was abandoned back to the town of Cuba. So that is one area that I think that we could focus on. It takes a lot of resources,
Right.
but some of the old graves and things like that. But there is family buried there from Charles Ingalls. So.
That we were really amazed when we saw the sign. Speaking of signage, there's a sign just 2 blocks over that's the Charles Ingalls Way.
Yes, so Carol Donovan was always big and instrumental in highlighting that, and so that alleyway was named after him, and that was something that she kept pushing for. So it's always the ideas, and I believe there's a historic marker up on Spring Valley in the area where the farm had been located.
Oh, excellent.
And so that's there, and then of course that was the settlement area, is north of Cuba, and that's where he has family that was buried there.
I was just blown away when I heard that.
Yeah.
I love that series, and the Laura Ingalls
I know.
diaries read that as a child, so it was really nice to hear that.
Yeah.
Do you, as a town supervisor, have any thoughts on how to expand the economic impact of trail-related or outdoor recreation economy in the area? We would love to hear how they hope to leverage the outdoor recreation.
Okay. So I'll go back to what the Alfred students recently created for
Right.
the urban development designs and stuff. When they were looking at the area on Bull Street, they kept coming back to the old bus garage that is there, but it's also housing Town of Cuba's ambulances there,
Right.
and so it's a response area. Plus, our highway department uses it quite often, and so when we're looking at our facilities on Bull Street, I told them to envision our buildings as a clean slate. Come up with something, what you think would be there, because one of the challenges that we have is the bridge on Bull Street is only rated for a certain weight. So when
Right.
our trucks are loaded with sand and gravel, they cannot go over that bridge. So that's why you see a lot of this gravel down below that area. And the school's been, a great collaborator on that. And allowing us to house the ambulances there. But what would it look like if we had a clean slate? Because it would be one of my priorities that we figure out a different place for our town highway to be situated. So they did a fantastic job of putting in a town and village hall there, and reimagined it, but they also did an interconnecting bridge, walk bridge, that would be over the creek, and it would come to the back part of the property, and it would have, flowers and water and different things that would also be another great place for somebody to stop, maybe picnic, or, and it moved the gazebo actually up into that area. So I've been waiting. I thought they were going to send us those clips and their presentations, and that we could share with others as well. And then we want to host a community, come see what the students, and tell us what you think about certain projects that they've come up with and everything. But so I think if we reimagine that area, that is going to bring more people to our community as well.
Absolutely.
And it's one more thing that we have that's attractive. And, if we, continue to push coming into the community, it's going to drive our economic values up as well. And I think Kevin White put a tag to what he felt was the economic impact of one weekend of the Garlic Festival coming into town for the small businesses. And I'm not sure where he got his data from, but it was around $750,000. So that's, important money.
Sure.
And when the festival first started, with it being late in September, summer's over, you're coming into those hard months for businesses, and they felt that that garlic festival was able to help sustain them through the winter months. So I think if we look year round and the activities that can be held along the trails and what we can provide, that will help enhance those small businesses that may struggle during the winter months. And I think that's going to be important, that we support and figure out a way to give them that hands up or a boost.
When we first came to Cuba, the garlic festival was happening that weekend, and that was made a great impression on us. We're like, wow, this is magical.
Yeah.
It's we also, on the note of the highway department, when I took our Cub Scouts down the trail one day, and they saw that huge gravel pit, and it was like
Magnet.
magnet. Yeah, they were on that. I was like, no, get down.